Hi guys, as you can see, this is my makeup brush essentials video. I'm going to run through the brushes that I use on a daily basis and I absolutely cannot live without. I'm gonna try to give a sort of mini review of each brush and why I absolutely love them and use them quite as often. So do stick around. I believe this is going to be very useful, hopefully to some of you, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Hi guys, so the first couple of brushes I'm going to start with are face brushes, and these are typically your larger brushes that you find in your vanity. They're used to apply all over face powders, mineral powders, blushers, bronzers, so anything that has to do with complexion or applying something to the entire face or a larger surface area of the face. So I'm gonna start with what is the most essential for me, at least, and this is because it applies what for me is the most essential product as well, and that is my foundation brush. I used to use a sponge to apply foundation. I was never a fan of brushes because I always felt that it just wasted so much product, getting lost in the bristles and not really getting transferred on my skin. I was an avid user of the Beauty Blender sponge and I thought it gave me the best finish ever that you can achieve in applying foundation, and that was before I discovered this very amazing brush. It's the first brush I'm going to share with you guys, and this is the Airbrush number 55 by Sephora. It is from their Professional Platinum collection, I believe. It is not your typical foundation brush. As you can see, it is not tapered or highly dense as any other foundation brush from any brand. It is wider, as you can see, and although it seems very fluffy, they're actually packed very tightly in the base here, and the bristles are fairly soft though, but not too soft. The reason why I absolutely adore this brush is it does two things for me, which I don't think any other foundation applicator or brush can actually claim. It picks up product perfectly, it stipples product perfectly on the skin, as well as being able to give a truly airbrush finish. It buffs very beautifully on the skin. It's not irritating at all. It's soft enough that it's actually quite soothing on the skin, and the finish is like no other that I've ever achieved with any other applicator. So this is my first brush essential and one that I highly recommend, and I guess the top brush in my kit. So this is the Sephora Airbrush number 55 Platinum Collection brush. The second favorite face brush that I will share with you guys is the one that I use to apply my blush with, and this is the MAC 116. This is not the most popular MAC blush brush out there. I believe it's the 119. I'm not so sure if I'm actually saying that right. I may be mistaken, but I will look it up later on and see if that is indeed the 119. But the 116, which is this one right here, is the one that is less wide. Yeah, I believe the more popular brush is the one that is a bit wider on the top. The first time I purchased this, I actually checked my bag and went back to MAC because I thought the Associate made a mistake, because I knew that the 116 is not the more popular brush from MAC. But the Associate confirmed with me and assured me that the 116 was actually the one that I was testing earlier in the store and is the one that I asked for. I thought there was a miscommunication somewhere or some kind of confusion, but I took it home anyway, and I'm very glad that I did. I thought I would return it, but I think this brush is absolutely the best in terms of allowing for you to achieve a more contoured cheek look. And by contoured, I'm not saying very harsh, but it just allows you to control more where the product is placed on your cheek versus using a bigger, fluffier blush brush, which, you know, just allows you to fluff the blush all over without really having as much control. And I think a lot of the belief is that, you know, at least for me, I used to think that applying a blush, I always wanted a fluffier round, a bigger brush to cover the entire surface area. But if you do use a bronzer and highlighter, you really want brushes that are relatively smaller, because you want the blush to, or the blush pigment to, at least just stay in a specific area. And this allows you for a more a better three-dimensional visual effect, I believe. And it just gives a better shape to your cheek than, you know, versus just fluffing it around. And this is just perfect. I mean, density wise, and even the bristles are great. Some, I do get some strands falling out occasionally, but very rarely, maybe one or two I just have to pull out. Fairly easy to clean, and absolutely fits the apple of your cheeks perfectly, which is where you really do want your blush anyway. So what I do is I just dab it on the product and really just tap it, and then also shear it out a bit if necessary, but you know, versus fluffing with a big brush. So this is the second brush I absolutely love. It's the MAC 116, and this is my blush brush. The three other face brushes that I use on a daily basis, they're not exactly holy grail for me. There probably are better ones out there, but these are the ones that I do have and I'm currently using on a daily basis. So I'm just going to share them with you. The third brush I'm going to share is the one that I use as a bronze applicator, and this is a Coastal Scents brush. It's just one of their brushes. This was included in their crocodile brush set that you can get online. This, I believe, was the medium face brush. So I think this was intended to be a blush brush, but one day I just did decide to use this as a bronzer brush, and it worked absolutely well. And what I like about this is that it reminds me of the 116 that I showed you earlier. It's not as fluffy as most blush or face blush brushes. The bristles are not as soft, but the density is quite similar as well. It's just a bit wider, which is great because I do, in applying bronzer, I cover more surface area than just the apples of my cheeks. And you know, the width here is just right. So this is where I grab the product and actually contour my cheeks by applying this on the half of my cheeks, towards my temple, and sometimes on my forehead and below my chin. And it's just really great because of its density. The next brush I'm gonna share with you guys is my e.l.f. fan brush, and I got this online from e.l.f. Cosmetics, and it's very, very wide. It's wider than probably some fan brushes you've seen, but it's also very, very soft, and I just like using this daily to brush on highlight on my upper cheekbones, and it's really great. It's really soft, so it's great for applying a highlighter and dusting it softly on my high cheekbones. And also brushing things, if you have fallout from applying eye makeup, it's also great for brushing that off because it's very, very soft. And the last face brush I'm sharing with you guys is this slanted face brush, which is, as well, as you can see from the Coastal Scents crocodile brush set. This I use, I believe it's a cheek brush, because a slanted cheek brush and intended for the cheeks, but I actually don't like using it for that because I think the slant just gives such harsh lines, versus, you know, just a regular brush like this allows me to diffuse the product a bit more. So what I actually use this for is to set my concealer for under my eye. Because of the shape, it fits perfectly right there, and yeah, that's what I use that for.